and you can probably come pretty close, but it's tough to figure out exactly what that optimal exchange rate is. So we rolled this out about a week, 2 weeks ago, and a handful of developers who are using it, every single one of them that I know has changed their exchange rate to something that's more optimal. So if that gives you any idea, these are people who have been around for a very long time, some of the most successful developers on the platform. After a week of having this tool, they made an appropriate change. It's very actionable, very powerful. I think this is also a really good illustration of kind of how we help people cheat. Monetization really is a cheating mechanism in a lot of ways. People could wait 15 minutes like everybody else in the game, or they can pay and not have to wait. So I think that's a really important way for game developers to look at it. Have your game playable by anybody and everybody for free, but people who have a credit card are willing to fill out an offer and want to get a leg up, you got to present all those opportunities to them.
In general, the perceived value and return of an item has to be equivalent to impact the price point. And you know, in this example, why would you pay $2 for something which is reasonably expensive when you can wait 15 minutes to achieve that? The $2 price point itself is fine. The average, premium item in a social game at the moment goes somewhere between $5 and $10, and you can see items of real value even up to $20. But for something that has only a very small impact on a game, it's common sense that you want to price that accordingly. And when it's a matter of hours, the user would have to wait, that's one thing. But if it's a matter of a few minutes, they're not going to pay $2 for that.
So I also asked you guys, what are some examples of people who are doing a really good job of having that gameplay that leads to something monetizing? And Ron picked Bingo Explosion, talking about the fact that the people come in, you play bingo, it's free, but then, and you're addicted, and then they say, oh, if you want another card, you're going to have to pay for it. And Ron, is there anything else here besides just that idea of really giving them the true idea of free to play, why you think this is a good example?
So I found this to be a great, interesting example, and that the gameplay was really quick and accessible across demographics. So you immediately, when you click on the game, suddenly are seeing numbers thrown at you, and so you have a free bingo card. Your engagement is quick but not deep, and the game ends in less than a minute, I'd say. And then after that, you've actually run out of coins. So you have sort of low engagement but high enjoyment. And then you're led to payment options. So the opportunity we saw here was, well, this is a great way to get people directly into payments, but if you have that low of an engagement, the amount of effort I've put into enjoying this game means that I'm not going to put in a lot of effort into going through any kind of difficult checkout process. So you have to have as low friction as possible. This is a great opportunity to close with Josh Kaufman called a penny gap, which, in that you want to create as many paying customers as possible, and you know that you have this low rate of paying customers to free customers. We see this as a great opportunity to integrate a mobile payments app directly, get people put in their mobile phone, it's as fast as can be, and only have to reply why with my mobile phone, and now I have a paying customer who's actually engaged with me and we're monetizing the app, especially since we're talking about virtual goods, which have no real cost of goods sold. Everything here is margin. The coins cost the same to produce the first one as the millionth one.
So you immediately started off with using the words, it's immediate, quick, low engagement. Do you guys recommend that in terms of monetization? Is that the best thing? Whereas other games take the approach of trying to make people play for a while, get very involved. How do you decide what's right for your game?
What we've seen across our publishers is that if your users don't pay you within the first couple of interactions with your game, they'll never pay you. So they need to understand why they want to pay you, so they need to make the investment. But if they don't pay you within the first couple of interactions, they'll never pay you.
I actually come from the publisher world prior to being an OfferPal, and the one thing that my company did beforehand, along with OfferPal, is we used OfferPal's XML API or JSON API at that time, which basically allows us to control and customize the offers. So we hand selected a number of really quick take, easy offers. They were free, no more than a couple of screens. They didn't have a big payout, but it was a really positive user experience. We thought that we might be cannibalizing people going to the offers page, but what we actually saw over the course of 2 weeks or so was a trust factor had built up. And people had a positive experience with offers, and then they were much more likely to go to the earn page and fill out perhaps a larger, more engaging offer. So I think if you start them out start them out cheap and easy, you can get them up to the more engaged ones that they do pay out more later.
So that's thinking about the offer perspective. I'd love to hear the Jamble side of thinking about that.
So I think one thing we definitely see in publishers is that people start paying very quickly once they start getting engaged. So it's not that you should be doing payments from the very beginning of the game. The other thing we also see is price points can change as the user gets more engaged. So you need to get users paying, and just like with offers, you want to try out with something that's more simple. People try out off price points are much cheaper. People can get in and start paying the credit cards at 50 cents or $1. And then you can start increasing price points beyond that as the user starts paying. And they can do single click payments with the games subsequently. So that's the other thing we've seen is that to get a user to start paying, you can actually have lower price points, but then you can start increasing that, adjusting that as users spend more time in the game. But user will start paying very quickly in a game once they get engaged.
I'll second that. Just from the cheaper side, and the things we've seen is this idea of barrier pricing, of having something that's priced too high, even though it might be something very valuable in your game, actually is so prohibitive to people spending. Whereas taking an item that they then will want to spend more money on other items later, it can make sense to lower the price of that item initially just to get the users paying. So, okay, we also had been talking about being creative with payments. And I think this is a theme we've heard today, yesterday, is the idea that let's push the envelope. What can we do different? And this was a really, I thought, a really cool example from OfferPal, talking about an example of an app that they thought, some of the, actually quite a few of our different payments providers could do something interesting with.
Yeah. So I'm sure most people. Well, how many here have ever been to causes on Facebook? It's actually less than about. How many have donated via causes? Yeah, so that's causes a problem, kind of. 30 million monthly active users is the second largest application on Facebook, and they've been in the top 4 or 5 since the platform launched. I think they were the 4th to launch. They launched with the platform. So they have it's this amazing medium to broadcast messages to your fans of your nonprofit, but it doesn't traditionally monetize that well. I come from the nonprofit world, and we've had some success, but as a portion of our overall budget, the causes has not offered a lot to us. So we're talking big numbers, low money. That seems pretty similar to the problem that people were having early on when the Facebook platform launched. You had all these popular viral games that people loved, but nobody was making a lot of money through, maybe some people had integrated PayPal, maybe some people had, were running banner ads. But the alt pay, the multiple forms of payment just weren't there for users. So, obviously this is a little offer bias, but any one of the solutions on this panel could work very well with causes. So this is an example of a pet co-offer for a pet charity. In my opinion, though, it doesn't even need to be that targeted. It's not causes demographic mirrors Facebook US demographic almost to a T. So anything that's utilitarian to a user that they might have wanted to do anyway, from signing up for Blockbuster to a Discover card or taking a survey, is something that they might be more likely to do now that they know that the charity of their choice can benefit from it. And I think the messaging needs to change a little bit around it as well. If we're playing Mafia Wars or any game like that, it says, fill out this survey and get 20 favorite points or whatever it might be. Here the messaging might need to change to be, fill out the survey and X company will donate to the charity of your choice, or sign up for a Discover card and Discover will donate $200 to the nonprofit of your choice. So it's a slightly different mindset for the user, but this might be just enough to get them to action something that they were already previously planning on.
What about mobile? What do you guys see in terms of this? Is this the kind of thing that you think, right now they're just using credit card, it's defaulting to $25 every time, so does a larger price point item like that work with mobile?
So we've had the benefit of, early on we acquired 2 companies, and so we're able to join together the price points that they had inherited over the couple of years, which meant that we have some of the highest price points in the industry, which enabled us to go after opportunities like this, except for the fact that the carrier fees are too high. And since with causes their minimum is around $10, which means sort of most mobile can't play, and then you want to be able to give all of the net revenue, the gross and the net should match as you pass on in terms of offers. So you have to then move into getting certified as a 501 or 503C, 507.6. And then in the offer wall, there's opportunity there, but then you have to filter the